Lance, you said it earlier this morning, and let me go on and get Jeremy England on. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Paul. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. We have this little lanyap here we're talking about because Waltz made this statement, and Lance and I were talking about it a little bit earlier this morning. This guy says things that always have this modicum of truth, or he says it, but he is sharp. He can cover something up and make you think he's selling bread when he's selling jelly. I mean, it's amazing the way this guy does it.
I do sit on the Veterans Affairs Committee. I have a unique privilege in Congress, is that by being elected from this district and being a retired command sergeant major, I am the highest ranking enlisted soldier to ever serve in Congress since the beginning of this nation. And I said, for me, it's not a sense of pride for me, it's a sense of responsibility, because when the Veterans of Foreign Wars testified in front of Congress, afterwards the commander came up to me and he said, it's about damn time that Congress got a sergeant major.
Okay, right and wrong on that one. First of all, it's enlisted. Trent Kelly would be the highest ranking officer who is in Congress at this particular time. As far as now, he is a lot higher than sergeant major. But as far as enlisted, that's the highest you can get as far as non-officer. So theoretically, he would be right had he passed the test or taken the test. He did not, so he's wrong on that part. So I just wanted to clear that up. Any statement from you?
Yeah, look, Tim Walt's a quick talker. He lies, but I don't think any of us should be surprised about his doing that. The top of the ticket down seems to lie as often as they get a chance to.
Doesn't it seem we're in some kind of surreal world, though? Because when you see all of this thing, with the AI and everything, everybody out there wants a piece of your brain and your loyalty and this vote. And the other half wants to corrupt that vote. So it's going to be an interesting election.
That's right. Look, there's a lot of election swindlers out there that are trying to get a hold of this and make the results be how they want them to be, regardless of what the actual voters want.
We are in the summertime, headed to fall faster than you may think, and will be upon us as far as a lot of meetings kicking up and things for the 2025 legislative session. Time is passing so fast. You have any summer meetings, or how about your committee?
Yeah, Paul, actually on August 28th, we have an elections meeting, and it's a joint House and Senate committee meeting that we're going to be talking very heavily on in-person early voting. And if you'll remember last session, we passed that. We passed my bill for in-person early voting out of the Senate. It got over to the House, and my counterpart there, Representative Noah Sanford, said, look, he's not against it, but he wanted to talk about it more. It kind of hit him out of the blue. So he said, look, we should have a hearing on it in the off season. And I'm proud to say he's making good on that word. He have worked well together as far as counterparts go from the House and the Senate. And so we're going to be talking about that on August 28th.
Explain that a little bit. What are we talking about?
Okay, Paul. So in-person early voting. Look, currently we have a system where if you want to show up in person before an election, you can go up to 45 days, and you have to have an excuse, like you're going to be out of town, or one of these specific enumerated excuses. And you sign an affidavit, you get a printed ballot, you write it down, you put it in an envelope, and you put that envelope into a box, and then your vote doesn't get counted until after the election. Well, what my system does, it allows you to show up for any reason up to 15 days in person at your clerk's office, provide them with a valid photo ID, and be printed a ballot and actually vote like you would on election day. And I think that that's a more trustworthy system. It's a more honest system where you're not going to have people showing up and making up an excuse, kind of winking and nodding at their clerk and say, look, I'm going to be out of town. I want to vote today. It's a more convenient way to cast your vote. And it's a system that we've seen states like Texas and Tennessee and Florida have been doing this for about 10 years now, and they're not seeing it change them from red to blue or from blue to red, and it just it allows better access to the polls. So that's something we're going to be looking at doing again.
So you're really not changing so much the procedure itself. Well, you're cutting it from 45 days to 15 days?
That's right. So if this bill, if my bill from last year passes, which I'm going to drop again this next year, it would get rid of the 45 days for in-person absentee voting. You would still have 45 days for mail-in, which again has very specific excuses. A lot of those having to deal with health and offshore workers and military members. But we would get rid of that 45-day in-person absentee, and we would just have a 15-day in-person early voting period.
And you wouldn't have to excuse. Anybody could do it.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And what it cuts down on is, you don't know if you're going to get sick. You don't know if your kids are going to have a ball game or dance or how your day is going to go on that Tuesday in November where you've got to show up and vote between 7 and 7. And you go get your vote cast.
I would think 15 days is plenty of time. 15 days in advance is plenty of time.
That's right. Yeah, and look, we looked at that. We looked at what other states have done. We talked to some think tanks. This has been polled, and look, it's polling very well across the spectrum. Democrats, Republicans, they all want this more convenient way of voting, which fits our current lifestyle. We look for it's a fast-moving, fast-paced society, and this is going to help people get in and go cast their vote, which is a very important thing for them to do.
Maria Bartoloma had something yesterday, and I got to tell you, I just don't feel good about. And I know the GOP is doing some incredible things. They are filing lawsuit, going and coming out there. But these people on the left are just evil, number one, and they're smart.
Early voting beginning in key battleground states next month in early September. The Republican National Committee demanding transparency and election integrity, filing lawsuits and hiring new staffers to help clean up the voter rolls. This week in Clark County, Nevada, home of the state's largest city of Las Vegas, Republicans removed over 90,000 inactive voters from the rolls. And then in Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin issuing an executive order mandating that all votes cast in November's presidential election be done by paper ballot with a strict chain of custody in place. Meanwhile, the House passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act last month. It would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections, but 198 Democrats voted against it. The Senate leadership has not brought the SAVE Act to the floor for debate and is unlikely to do so. Meanwhile, Wisconsin Representative Brian Stile, chairman of the Administration Committee, is launching an investigation into the Democrats' main funding vehicle, Act Blue, and asking whether or not foreign money is being donated to Democrats. Now, with 10 million illegals crossing into America on the Biden-Harris administration's watch, many illegals apparently are already registered to vote, and Democrats are not interested in voter security.
How in the world do you stop that, Jeremy? How in the world?
Well, Paul, look, I can say we're doing a good job here in Mississippi already. Look, we've former Secretary of State Delbert Hosemann, who's now our current Lieutenant Governor, he worked very hard to get us a photo ID system put into place, and we've had that, and we're moving forward with that. That makes your voting more secure. We've moved to paper ballots, so we have a paper trail, so you can go audit an election if you need to. So we've done that. Our machines, we've gotten away from the machine issue with, you mentioned AI and computers. Look, a lot of how confident you are in your elections depends on perception. And we've attacked that kind of head on. We've made our system better. And when it comes to integrity and confidence in your system, I think we're doing great here in Mississippi. I think these other states should look at what we're doing, as a matter of fact, and see how to make their election process better.
They know how. They just don't want to. That's just like the Democrats in Congress all voting. Well, most of them, I think 5 of them voted for that, but all of them except 5 voted against tightening it up as far as voter ID is concerned. When there was another story out there. There were already some people trying to vote who were illegal. But when you come up to their Secretary of State in a blue state, they said, well, wait a minute. He's got his ID. It's a driver's license. So they're issuing the driver's license, and how do you stop that? It's almost impossible. And as Maria said at the end of that, on the unedited version, once that ballot's in the box, man, it is very difficult not to count it. More with Jeremy England coming up next. Joe Rogan has a big following out there, and sometimes he hits it right on the head.
Wasn't she like a joke even among Democrats? Like 10 seconds ago, like literally, like a day ago.
Yep.
And now it's like the country's rallying around.
I know. Yeah.
What? I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
even.
we're so easily manipulated, and they're all doing it in lockstep. She polled as the least popular vice president of all time.
That's one of the things I think as fellow Mississippians, we look at this, we say, what are you thinking? If these crowds are real, how do you get all of these people to leave what they're doing and to go hear word salad? It doesn't make any sense. A couple of headlines out there, Jeremy. Minnesota GOP demands probe after non-citizen claims receiving primary ballot without registering to vote. So they're having some problems in Minnesota already. Beside Walls, Kamala Harris' top foreign policy advisor is under investigation for links to the Ayatollah Khomeini's regime. Her top foreign policy advisor. Just some quick shot headlines going on out there. I did want to ask you about workforce because that was something that you've been working on, and it doesn't make as much national news as it should, but we are clicking on all cylinders here. We just had another big announcement as far as Tupelo is concerned, and that's something that the legislature is going to have to contend with again this next session.
Yeah, Paul, look, we're having announcement after announcement on these big projects coming to Mississippi. And these aren't just, like we saw recently, these aren't just new companies coming to Mississippi. These are companies within Mississippi expanding, because what they're seeing and what we've been able to do is we're growing our workforce to be specialized in what these companies need. Now, a lot of that goes all the way back to 2020 and 2021 when we put Accelerate Mississippi in place. We've then moved forward. We put career coaches into our classrooms in Mississippi, so they're finding what these students, what they're passionate about and what they want to do, and then they're directing them to where they can get specific training. And then just this last year, we allowed for tax incentives and for tax credits for big companies to put materials and instructors into classrooms at our community colleges. So they're able to go specifically develop their workforce that they need. And that's such a huge deal. A lot of your people that deal with site development, look, site development is very important, but they'll tell you that they want that workforce to be there so that they can hit the ground running and get their products where they want to get them. And we're really doing it. And again, it's all, across all spectrums, not just in the classrooms, but our Department of Transportation with Brad White and with our chairman down here with Charles Busby just going in, and Willie Simmons, all of those guys, they're doing a great job making sure that our roads are in good condition so they can get their products from point A to point B. So we've got that going for us. We're really, look, we're in a prime spot for Mississippi to just continue to explode when it comes to high paying jobs for our workforce.
It is different from the Gulf Coast and training the possible workforce that it is in North Mississippi. We know that, but we've done that in most places in the state. I just wonder what the next step is. Is the next step of trying to just educate better with these career coaches in schools, at least giving kids an opportunity to see what the choices are?
I think so, Paul. Look, the great thing our career coaches are doing is they're not just changing these kids' lives; they're changing generations. Because you have kids that they might feel like they're stuck in a rut. They might have parents that are working 2 jobs, and these kids are, single parents. They're helping raise their brothers and sisters, and they just, maybe they don't like school, or maybe they love school, and they can't figure out where they want to go from there. So you've got these career coaches taking anyone from a valedictorian that wants to study orthopedic surgery. They're taking them to go see an actual knee replacement and getting them in place to do that, to these folks that are in the back of the classroom that don't want to go back to school. And they're saying, look, would you like to go learn how to weld or pipe fit or join the military? I mean, they're changing these students' lives, and they become great friends with them, with their families. Our career coaches are kind of our unsung heroes of where we're headed in Mississippi, in my opinion.
You know how hard or how much the Democrat Party is working against that workforce? When you think, I don't even think they know what they're doing. But when you start talking about 2 years of free community college, 4 years of free IHL higher education, or we're going to pay off your student loans, all of these things, enticing kids to get into college, But why in the world, if you could go for 2 years at a community college, have everything paid for, and certainly in 4 years, if you go to college at 4 years, have everything paid for, if it's free, why wouldn't you go on out of high school and do that? Workforce is not something that you're looking at as far as after high school on some of these skilled jobs.
Right.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It
Always good having you, my man.
Paul, thank you very
Final
much. I've enjoyed my
thoughts?
time here this morning.
You got it. Jeremy
Yeah.
England, we got news coming up at the top of the hour.